all love sugar. Is there anyone who doesn't like sugar, doesn't like eating sweet snacks? I personally doubt that. I also enjoy eating desserts, and in fact, I was kind of sugar addict at one point in my life. But luckily, I fixed this addiction since hopping on this fitness healthy lifestyle. In this video, I'll talk about what you should know about refined sugar and why you shouldn't blame yourself for craving it, because it's not entirely your fault. Firstly, let's talk about how does our brain behave when we consume refined sugar. So the first point, when we eat a healthy, balanced meal, our brain signals a feeling of satiety, so we will stop eating at the right time. On the other hand, when we eat a meal that is high in sugar, fat, and salt, this meal dulls the brain and makes it unable to recognize whether or not we are full until we have already overeaten. The second point, these foods are so hard to resist because they taste so good. They are delicious. And when we eat these foods, our brain's reward center activates and releases dopamine. I'm pretty sure that you guys have heard about dopamine before, but basically dopamine makes us feel great and we love it. It's addicting. When we overconsume this type of food, our brain becomes overwhelmed with all the pleasurable experiences and it adapts to it over time. Then we need to eat more of this food to get the same kick out of them. Our brain is hardwired to seek this food, but also at the same time we are building up the tolerance to them. So eventually we become sugar addict or fast food addicts. There were several published studies that claim that sugar is just as addictive as drugs like cocaine or heroin. So knowing the basics of impacts of refined sugar on our bodies and brain is really helpful for us to understand why we scientifically behave the way we behave and why we shouldn't blame ourselves for that. That is a really natural reaction and there is nothing wrong with us. I encourage you to learn more about impacts of refined sugar on our brain by reading online articles or even reading books, watching videos, because the knowledge from these sources will strengthen your mind to make it less difficult to manage your own cravings. And the worst thing is that the food industry knows this really well and it takes the advantage of it. Every manufacturer invests a significant amount of money on yearly basis in researching and developing their bliss point in their products. And in case you don't know what the bliss point is a combination of the most satisfying ingredients such as sugar, fat, salt in a food that makes it the most enjoyable to eat and really difficult to resist. They typically add a greater amount of sugar, fat, and salt to the level at which people derive the most satisfaction, the greatest pleasure, so people cannot stop eating. They would crave more, buy more, spend more money, the sales would increase, but so do chronic diseases around the world. So the question is this about our weak will or about unethical tactics that the food industry uses to manipulate us? Or is it both, with our own responsibility to the lifestyle we lead? Maybe think about that for a moment. When you do your own research, you will find out that refined sugar is not just empty calories, but it also plays a significant role in the rise of obesity, type 2 diabetes. Refined sugar can also impair our organs such as liver, heart. It increases inflammation, it can cause dental issues, it also impairs our immune function. It can lead to mental performance and mental health issues such as lack of focus, mood crash, high stress levels, depression, lack of focus, lack of self-control, decreased cognitive skills, and many more. Now let's talk about the daily limit. The recommended daily intake limit for added sugar is under 5% of your total calories. For a typical adult with an average body composition, it would be 30 grams of added sugar per day. So for example, one chocolate bar Mars already contains 26-28 grams of sugar, so daily you should eat only one chocolate bar, the Mars one. If we have a look at the typical example, which is a can of Coke, this can already exceeds the daily limit. That's why it's so important for you guys to read the food labels carefully, but I'll talk about this in the next video, which will be dedicated to how to reduce or even get rid of your sugar addiction as someone who has learned it. And I will talk about some steps, strategies, so stay tuned for the next video. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.